So something I want you to think about is railroad tracks are parallel. What would happen if they were not parallel? Well, the wheels couldn't stay on the tracks. So remember, this is a line segment. Parallel line segments would have two endpoints. And I would want to use a straight edge or a ruler for this to make sure they are absolutely straight. So two parallel line segments are like this. They end. They don't go on and on forever. You could measure them. Now I want you to go on to Math Journal, page 27. I want you to do it on your own. The only assistance you may have is you may go back and re-look at my explanations of lines, rays, line segments, or go get a student reference book and look on page 227 and 230. Those two pages should be able to help you to find out names for lines, line segments, rays, to remember the vocabulary. So pause the recording now. Go get your student math reference book. Look on pages 227, 230, and complete Math Journal, page 27. Remember to bring it back to me. Do not correct it on your own. Pause the recording now. Now I'd like you to do math boxes, page 28. Take a look at the problems that are on there. Again, if you need help, rewind the recording or go back into your math reference book, page 230, possibly 227, and complete this page. When you are finished, go to the answer key, correct it, and then come back and do Math Masters, page 40. So pause the tape now and do the math boxes on page 28 in your math journal. So here's a question for you. How can you use your arms to show parallel lines? Well, if you put your hands straight up alongside your head, not tilted inward or outward, they would be parallel lines. For the games that we're going to play, you need to have your 100 thousands, 10 thousands, thousands, hundreds, tens, ones chart. You're going to need your Toppet record sheet. But remember, we only play those games on game day. Look at this problem. Kenji is following a 22-week training schedule to prepare for a marathon. The last 4 weeks call for these weekly running totals: 58 kilometers, 45 kilometers, 37 kilometers, and 29 kilometers. How far will Kenji run in the last 4 weeks of training? Show your work. So what you need to do is estimate it. What would 58 round to? Well, 58, the 8 tells me to have the 5 go up 1, so that would be 60. What would 45 round to? The 5 is telling me to round the 4 up 1 more, so 45 would round to 50. What would 37 round to? Well, the 7's telling the 3 to round up 1, so I round that up to 40. And 29. The 9 is telling me to round up the 2 by 1, so it would go to 30. Now I would add these together. The zeros all in the ones place tell me that my last place in the ones will be a 0. 6 plus 5 is 11. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 80. My estimate will be 180. My real answer is adding these all together. I like to use the traditional method of addition, lining them up and adding them. So you should be doing this also to get the extra practice. I am number 37. Sorry, my 3s are not that great. And a 29. I always start with the largest numbers first. So 9 and 8 is 17. And 7 is 24. And 5 is 29. I put down my 9 and I carry my 2. Again, I start with the largest numbers. 5 and 4 is 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 169. As you see, my answer is truly 169. Be sure anytime you see these questions that you have the number model for your estimate and then your answer written on the line, and then you can continue. Go to your math journal, page 28. Complete the rest of the boxes. We just did number 1 together. Don't forget when it says show your work, you must show your work in order to get credit for the answer. Pause the tape now, or the recording. Finish page 28. Then go to the math journal, answer key, and correct your answers. If you have any of them wrong, please hop back and talk to me about it. When you complete that, I want you to get Math Masters page 40 out of your file folder or see me, and you need to complete that so I know that you understand about line, segments, lines, and rays. Pause the tape now and do Math Journal page 28. If the journal is being used by many students, here are the answers for you. I am going to scroll down them fairly quickly, but you can always stop and pause the tape for the part that you need in order to check your answers. Name at least 5 things in your home that remind you of line segments. Things that you could measure from point A to point B, and the lines would not continue on and on. Share this answer with a partner who's close to the same spot as you. And the final thing for this lesson is for you to do Math Masters page 40. It's a loose leaf sheet. I need for you to fill it out, and you may check your answers, but it must get turned in with me, so pause the tape now and do that. Anything that you got wrong or you don't understand, make sure you're talking to me, because this is a very important assessment skill that you need to know how to do. So pause it now, turn it back on when you get it completed. Again, these are the answers. I am going to scroll through them very quickly, but you can always pause the tape to look at the answers. Make sure you're looking at your arrows when you have to label a line, that you have endpoints for a line segment, and that array starts with an endpoint and then ends on the other end with an arrow. Think of a sun, and if the sun was right here, the rays go out from the sun. So your endpoint starts at the sun and it continues to go out with the arrow. Again, remember that you can always pause this to double check your answers if I scrolled through it too quickly. Modeling line segments. Remember again, a line segment is made up of 2 points and the straight path between them. Rubber bands can be used to represent line segments on a geoboard. So a geoboard is a flat board, and each one of these endpoints would be a nail. And you would take a rubber band and stretch it from one end to another. This would show you that the line segment touches these 5 points. You can practice making your own line segments on the piece of paper that is in your file folder, and then follow the directions below to record your work on the diagrams by drawing the position of the rubber band and where it could be placed. So if you were going to make a line segment that touches 4 pins, you would simply take it, circle 4, and draw it back. Now remember, the 4 could go any which way. They could go diagonally, they could go vertically, they could go horizontally, any of those ways. Now look at this. Make a line segment that touches 4 different pins, different than what you have drawn in the number 1. Number 3 says make the shortest line segment possible. Well, remember, line segment has to have 2 endpoints. And then make the longest line segment possible. Number 5 says, Cami says she cannot make a line on her geoboard. Do you agree? Explain why or why not. If you don't remember what a line is, look it up in the glossary of your student reference book. It says a line, not a line segment. And here are some answers once you have completed. Okay, 3 or more points on the same line are called collinear points. Points A, B, and C are all points on the line below. A, B, C means that A, B, and C are collinear points, and point B is between points A and C. So the following are true statements about EH, line EH. See the little arrows above the EH? EF, H, and FGH. The following are false statements about line EH, FEH, and FHG. Name 2 more true statements about line EH. What else could you say about them? Well, you could say that it's HGF, and again, I'll write that on here as best I can. And don't forget to draw your line symbol over top of it. You got a HFE, and you go ahead and try to come up with a couple more. I'm going to name 2 more false statements, GEF. The reason GEF does not work is because you cannot jump around. You cannot jump around going from G to E and then back to F. That is not the correct way of doing it. The same with EGF. You cannot do it that way, because F is in between E and G, so you can't be switching those around. Write 2 more and then go on to the next one. Place points J, K, L, M, N, and O on the line below using these clues though. J and O are not between any points, so that means they need to not be between any points. And then as you line them up, MKL has to be on there, NLJ, and MKN. So I'll give you a hint. J and O need to be on your endpoints. So I'll give you those 2, O and J. Finish that. Show a different solution to the puzzle. Again, O and J still need to be on the endpoints. Finish this sheet. look at the answers on this page and correct it. And if you still don't understand it, make sure you come ask so I can explain it to you. And this is the